I conceived of the idea to walk across Canada. My life was quite busy in the ashram/monastery. I thought, I just need a little break. I'm going to go on a long meditative walk. My anticipation was to meet a variety of people who all have their story to tell, something a little different. And what's unique about the highway, it just pulls everyone together on a common ground. That's the magic of a road like the Trans-Canada Highway. My name is Bhakti Marg Swami. Bhakti Marg in Sanskrit means path of devotion. I wanted to meet the people and hear their stories. I had been traveling across Canada in different ways. Once I hitchhiked, I went by bus a few times, car a few times. I wanted to do it close up, where I could really get to see the plants, the stones, and meet the people, and be exposed, and be myself, and go in my traditional robes, and just be who I am, and let occur whatever is to occur.
Like I remember when the Beach Boys first started singing about surfing, and I was in Winnipeg, and it was the winter time, and they first played Surfing USA on the radio. I didn't know what it was. They had to explain, you get on a board, you paddle out, and you get on a wave. Well, how do you get on a wave? Everybody knows about driving, do you know what I mean? So it took a long while for us to figure out what was surfing all about. But when the Beach Boys sang about Little Do Scoop, we all knew about cars and trucks and going on the road and rolling on down the highway, that kind of thing, my little 409. Everybody knows about all the cars. So there's something that, I don't care what genre you're in, country music, rock and roll, pop music, songs always come up about let's drive on, let's roll on down the highway, got to keep moving on. And it's a parallel to keep moving on in life and keep going on no matter what happens. You know, the bad happens, the good happens, you keep driving on, you head to the horizon and you head into the wind and you make the best of it.
I was lying in the tent at night, and a voice from a friend back in Toronto, he said, he did a little research on it, and he said, people tried it, they walked across Canada, but they petered out somewhere along the line. So that really bothered me, that haunted me.
When the CPR Railway went through with their first surveys, they picked the best land to travel on for a train.
And so their location engineers, when they came through, pretty well picked the prime stuff. So we had to take what was left. We spilled rock on them, we did all sorts of things, and they didn't whine. The only thing they cried about was when you blew up their telegraph line. They didn't like that one bit.
Each resident was in charge of so many miles of highway. You knew exactly where you were going and how far you had to go, and you had to meet the other highway there. The two highways had to meet. They couldn't meet like this. They had to meet. We were able to build a highway, not maybe as straight or as neat and level as we would have liked, but nevertheless we had to build with what we had, and that's the Trans-Canada Highway through Rogers Pass. To be the first in there to do it was really something, you know. It's just like a hockey player winning the Stanley Cup. That's how it felt, you know, really good.
The number of people I talk to, you know, every week who at some point in a half-an-hour conversation will talk to you about getting in the car and driving to some other part of Canada. It's amazing. I mean, that's what Canadians do, and they really like getting in their cars. I mean, there's a problem in terms of, you know, we got to do something about the machines and the pollution and all the rest of it. But Canadians actually love getting in some form of locomotion and moving across their country.
Sometimes the highway can leave people behind and leave traces and hints of what was there in the past. Every twist on the road reveals another story, and it can be good or bad. And it's changed a lot of people's lives across the country.
Okay, you're on the Trans-Canada Highway. Go a mile east, cross over the railway tracks there, look left, and you'll see a Massey sign about a block to your south. My grandfather was pretty well known by everybody in this area. The original business here started out as a blacksmith shop. He used to operate this place from about 7 in the morning till about 9 at night, so that, you know, the customers could come in anytime and get their stuff. And that was in the 1890s. And it's still here. My father and my uncle came into the picture in the 30s, which happened to be the dirty 30s, which there was no crops, no nothing around here, and had a very difficult time. They built it up to a bigger business, you know. They started covering more equipment and territories, and in comes the combines and the tractors and all this stuff, and they were hiring mechanics. And by the time we came into it 22 years ago, it was a very ongoing business. It was moving right along.
Plenty of sunshine through today with seasonal temperatures. We should reach our normal high of about 82 degrees by this afternoon.
I think the towns that are down below 300 and 400 people right now, I think the writing's on the wall. The services aren't there anymore. No young people coming in. Your schools are gone, your infrastructure's gone, so your elevators are gone. It just does not look good for them.
Nagatigatophi Dhyayanstu angstasya yashyastri samyam Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
I was in the automobile business from the start. I worked in the Durant factory in Leaside, Toronto. The Durant factory and the Durant Motors of Canada went belly up. 1933 were the last cars they made, and when we didn't have cars to sell, why, I started wondering what I was going to do. My mother's cousin was named Earl Smith, and he worked for the Department of Highways as a surveyor. And when he got to English River, he said that there was a very nice lake and the highway would curve around it, and he thought it would be an excellent place to have a service station. So I jumped on the train and with a pair of skis and cut across country to this lake and had a look at it, and I was quite pleased with what I saw. I started the service station in 1935. It was during the Depression, and there were a lot of people traveling that were going back home, and it was pretty hard at times. Even one girl left a diamond ring with me for gasoline and then sent for it later. But things were pretty tough. I had always maintained that 50% of the cars would stop at least. And I even went as far as saying on some days they both did. Once the highway was officially open, well, then people expected a lot. Oh, there were so many people disappointed. They would plan a trip and then they'd get bogged down in the mud. Everybody that came in for gas, they wanted to know where they could go fishing. They wanted accommodation to stay overnight, so we went into the business of cabins and boats to rent and guides. We changed the name from Brown Service Station to Brown's Tourist Camp. They just loved the place. One man came and stopped for a Coca-Cola, and he stayed 2 weeks, and he just loved the place, and he came back year after year after year.